It's Dan here,
And Frank.
and welcome to the Mazer Squad podcast. Today we'll be covering Gorgo, the classic 1961 monster flick. But before that, we will be covering Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issue number 2. And we'll do a little bit of release news and some kaiju news. So do you want to start off with Power Rangers?
Yeah, so where we left off issue 1, Tommy had just been defeated in the Dragon Zord, and he was in the new, I guess, the new Earth that Rita had warped him to that was being destroyed by Godzilla and kaijus as far as Tommy was concerned. And the Power Rangers saw Tommy defeated, so they summoned their Megazords. And in this issue, it's also right off the bat, Godzilla is battling the Megazord and the Power Rangers. They're kind of holding their own. Godzilla really blasts him, and they say that Godzilla's a power level or some sort of energy level that they've never read before that's so high. He's over 9,000.
Yeah. One thing I really liked was how in one panel they got the entire going from Zord to Megazord transformation, and you could just animate it in your head with how they drew it. It was really nice.
Yeah. No, the art in this has been fantastic so far. I love it. Freddie Williams is doing a great job with this.
Yeah, and the story is so tight and well put together so far. It's like they really might fit a whole narrative into 5 issues. I was like, I don't know how they're going to do this, but they're doing it.
It's the new way of doing comic books now. Everything is 5 issues. The last 2 Ultraman series they did were 5 issues. The last Godzilla series they did was 5 issues. It's just the new way they're doing comics now. They're just like, all right, we're going to do an arc, 5 issues, then we'll continue it with a new arc later on, depending on how it does. So Anyway, the Megazord fighting Godzilla. Godzilla seems to have the upper hand the whole fight, but then the Power Rangers summon the Megazord sword, and they stab Godzilla in the chest, in the heart. And he kind of retreats. He's not dead, but he's wounded. Rita's celebrating. The aliens are like, yeah, we might have him. I don't know. We thought we've had him before, but we didn't. So now the Power Rangers walk around town. They run into some survivors they see crawling through the rubble. And the survivors say, hey, we're heading to this carnival where they're keeping everybody safe. It's sort of like a haven for survivors of what has gone on Earth from all the monster attacks from the aliens. And one of the survivors kind of mentions that Godzilla was the only protector they've had. So now the Power Rangers have realized that they may have attacked Earth's only protector now and possibly killed him.
Yeah, the fight scene was really good. And one thing I wanted to mention is while they were stabbing him with the, I believe it's the power sword, he's hitting him with the atomic breath. So Megazord's down and he's down.
Yes, yeah. The Megazord was definitely damaged. They kind of abandoned ship with that once they stabbed him too.
Yeah. One thing to note though is that the Megazord does have self-repairing technology.
Yep.
So it's not out of the count.
Yeah.
And I thought the setting of the going to this carnival was kind of a really good idea, and kind of ties into Gorgo, that like just having like the way they set up the end of the issue, we're getting a fight inside of this carnival, and just like with all the lights and everything, I know it's going to be some really good visuals next issue.
The issue basically ends. The carnival is about to be attacked by Gigan shows up, and what were the 2 other Power Ranger ones? There was the one with all the...
Guy. I forget the name of the other one. It's the rhinoceros monster. I honestly don't remember his episode at all. I remember Guy. He was first season, very iconic.
Yes.
I would have liked to see maybe like Pig, or I don't even know who else I would have really liked.
Pumpkin Wrapper.
Pumpkin. I love Pumpkin Wrapper, but I think that'd be a little too zany for that. But I thought maybe they could have thrown in the like the lizard monster that Bryan Cranston was. This way we have that Godzilla Bryan Cranston Power Rangers crossover in there. Just a little Easter egg for the fans to be like, oh, he was in Godzilla and in Power Rangers. And he's also in the new live action movie, but that's just a double crossover. But just the ending panel, which I'm probably not going to put in here because buy the comic book. I want you guys to buy the comic book. Yes. The art is amazing and the story is great. It's just super epic.
Yeah, everything about these first 2 issues has been just epic. The covers, the art, all of it's been amazing. I mean, I'm loving it. I can't wait for the 3rd issue. I mean, this is one of those series that, like, I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll wait for all 5 to come out, then I'll get the collector's set. But you can't get the complete volume until October, I believe. It's going to compile all 5 books. So get them now. You're going to get it spoiled for you if you don't read it. So go get it now.
Yeah, I'm really happy that IDW and Boom Studios are doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's our thoughts on Godzilla vs. Morphin Power Rangers. Next issue's coming out sometime in June. So.
Yeah. No, it's May. It's May now. So it's coming out now. That was April's issue.
Oh my god, this is coming out. All these issues are coming out like one after the other.
Yeah, I believe it's like the 20 something. I think comics are usually on Wednesdays, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So I believe
it's probably like that would probably be the 24th.
It's the 25th or the 24th, I believe.
Yeah, no, it's the 25th because the 20th is a Saturday.
Yeah. So just a couple weeks away.
Wow. Yeah. So we do have some news coming up.
Breaking news.
Yeah. First thing is that the rumored Song of Kong movie, we don't actually know if that's what it's going to be.
Godzilla vs. King Kong 2, they're calling it, is the working name, but the rumor is that it's going to be a Son of Kong movie.
Is that, I guess maybe, I'm assuming it's going to be the male lead, is rumored to be Dan Stevenson, Dan Stevens. Sorry.
Yes, from Beauty and the Beast and the FX show Legion. He's been in Downton Abbey and a bunch of other British pieces. He's a great actor. I mean,
I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I was introduced to him through the show Legion, and that show was just a massive mind game. That was like one of those shows you had to like throw your phone across the room and just like glue yourself to the TV because it was just such a mind game. The whole show, like you're just like, what's going on, and it was epic. I only stuck with it for the first 2 seasons. The second season got a little crazy, and it was just so hard to follow, just because it's just
high concept,
really out there. But it was really good, great acting.
Yeah,
he's a great actor. Beauty and the Beast, he was the Beast.
Yeah, he was the guy that everyone was like, "Oh, the Beast is hotter." Which, I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He was in Downton Abbey, and I know these MonsterVerse movies, they always get really great cast, and I'm always really surprised by the people that we got. But I'm really excited for that news. I know the movie's filming, but
I don't know if it's filming. Plus, they were also working on that Apple TV show it's the Godzilla prequel kind of.
Oh, I thought that Australian newscast said that they were filming it already.
I don't know if they are. I think they're filming the Apple show. I don't really know.
They're so good at keeping secrets.
Yeah.
That
they're keeping us under wraps good.
Yeah, I mean, even with Godzilla vs. Kong, it really wasn't that much information out until the movie came out.
That trailer. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the only other big release news is I guess it's today. Right now would be today's the 12th, but over in Japan it is the 13th. So Shin Ultraman's debuting right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I just hope we get it over here.
Oh, absolutely. I'm hooked. I mean, like I said, I've been going through the Ultra series. I just watched Return of Ultraman episode 37 today. It's a very notorious episode I discovered today is called Ultraman Dies at Sunset, and it was a brutal episode of Ultraman, and I was just like shocked. I was like, oh boy. Ultraman usually tends to be very lighthearted, and this was just absolute savage. They literally murdered two main cast members, which I later found out today after doing some research. After I was in complete shock that they had to be written out of the show because they had other filming obligations at the time, so they just brutally killed them off. But and what makes it even more screwed up is this was the first ever Ultraman Ultra series Christmas special, quote unquote. So a Christmas episode where we're brutally murdering two main characters.
Yeah, I hope that they bring some of that brutality over to the Shin series, because I know with Shin Godzilla, it was, I mean, it's Evangelion. The Shin Godzilla was so like bloody and like almost, I know it's a monster and there's all like CG and stuff, but like that body horror type of thing going on. I'm like, I hope we get that with some of these fights that's in the movie. I hope Toho figures out what it's doing as far as releasing this in America. I couldn't find anything.
No, and I really hope we get it sooner rather than later. I don't want to wait like a year for this or a long time. I'm hoping that we get this stateside by the fall here, or end of the summer.
I don't know who they would partner with besides Sony.
I don't know if it's going to be a home media release.
I'm assuming it's going to be home media. Or very limited in theaters.
I don't know if Netflix is going to be the ones that have the shot at it, since they have the anime, plus supposedly they have another animated movie or something that they announced years ago.
Yes.
I have not heard a single thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like one of those big what ifs right now. Like, what exactly are they going to be doing? I don't know if Funimation's going to be, I mean, that's basically defunct and rolled into Crunchyroll now. And I haven't heard anything about Crunchyroll dubs continuing, if that dub studio is staying open. And I know they did Shin Godzilla. I think the only other company that really has experience with releasing Godzilla movies in America is Sony, which owns Crunchyroll and Funimation. So we'll see.
We'll see. Maybe we'll get some Supaida, man, if Sony's involved.
I wish. I'm honestly surprised that Disney hasn't come up with a deal or something yet to put that in there.
I would kill to have a good copy of that. I have a bootleg copy from a comic convention of the series.
I think that's the only thing that's around is bootlegs. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll. Is there any other news, or is that? I think that's kind of it. It's been a bit like just that that comic book adaptation with Matt Frank.
Project Nemesis. Yeah. Well, it was a novel first, and then Matt Frank partnered with the writer to do a 5-6 issue mini comic series back in 2017. I've heard of I'm on a lot of Facebook pages, Reddits, Twitter, so I've heard Project Nemesis talked about constantly, and I'm like, I gotta pick it up. I just don't have a ton of time to read books, and if I knew there was a comic series back in 2017, I would have absolutely got it. I'm so angry that I missed that boat. Maybe I'll see if they have it digital somewhere. I definitely want to read the comic, and I would love to read the books. I'm thinking once I finish Return of Ultraman, I'm going to start trying to squeeze like a book in or something a week or something like that. I'm going to try.
Yeah, it's tough. I know I've been working on the Star Wars books, and it's just like, it's a lot, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, Project Nemesis is going to be adapted as a series by the director from John Wick, so we're getting some quality action there for sure. So I'm real excited to see what's going to happen with the series. I don't know much about Project Nemesis, and I know there's 3 books in the series, I believe, for the novels. I think it's Project Nemesis, and I'm not sure what the other 2 are called. They're all called Project something, but Project Nemesis, I believe, is the first book in the series.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I think it's one of those things that like they're just announcing it now. I don't even think they have
I think
anything.
It's going to be ways off before we see it. They don't know where it's going to be It's a series, so it's got to be picked up by somebody.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like Apple streaming or something like that. Apple TV. I just have a feeling that like they're looking for content, and that would probably be the easiest place to get on. But
It could be, but
they already have Godzilla.
I'm trying to think who has John Wick. That's what I would guess.
Is that HBO?
Amazon has John Wick right now as a rental. Nobody's actually streaming John Wick, so
Really?
I'm just trying to think like, oh,
Who made John Wick? What's the studio? Let me look it up right now.
Because I'm just trying to think, the director's probably got to has connections to whatever streaming service or company he worked with. So that's what my guess would be.
Lionsgate. I don't know what where Lionsgate stuff is streaming right now.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. Maybe we'll discuss that at another time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super early concept, but I guess we will get over to the main event, which is Gorgo.
Yes. I have not watched this one in a couple of years, and it was a fun experience to be watching this again. We'll get into the plot real quick, and then we'll just give some thoughts on it. So, basically, Gorgo takes place on it starts off with the main focus of Gorgo is Captain Joe Ryan and his first mate Sam Slade. They're on a ship that usually salvages other ships, looks for treasure, trying to profit off of shipwrecks. So they're out to sea salvaging a ship. A big underwater volcano erupts, causes some rough seas. They get shipwrecked on a little island off of Ireland called Nara Island. It's not a real island. It's just an anagram of the Aran Islands off Ireland. Anyway, they get shipwrecked there. They go ashore while they're going ashore on their little dinghy. They see a bunch of deep sea dead fish washed up. So this volcano shook something up underneath there. They get on shore. They're looking for the harbor master to see if he could help them out with their ship so they could get out of there and get back to looking for treasure. And they get to the harbor master's house, and they're greeted by a little boy named Sean. And they ask if the harbor master's there. He says no, but you're at the right place. He invites him in, and he shows them all these old Viking relics that the harbor master's been collecting. The harbor master apparently is a professor that came to the island to study, and he kind of just adopted the harbor master title, and he's just been collecting all these Viking artifacts, and Sean's job is to kind of clean them up and keep them in good shape.
Yeah, and then they're out on sea. They go do some diving because they think there's something that's being kept secret there. They end up seeing Gorgo while they're diving under Orga. Right?
No, it was Gorgo they found. Yeah.
Yeah, sleeping, just kind of swimming underwater. They come back up. They find a dead body. They turns over to nighttime, and Gorgo comes onto land, and then kind of like again, the monster didn't do anything wrong in this movie.
It just came ashore.
It gets speared in the head.
Yes.
By some guy, so he gets pissed off, goes on shore, and then they have like a comical amount of torches.
Yes, they had like
they have like 1 million torches that they're throwing at this monster. I'm like, where are they getting this from?
They had like a little fire, and all of a sudden, everybody from town's just throwing torches at Gorgo, and they were shooting Gorgo too, but it was doing nothing.
Yeah.
So they just start throwing torches. Joe Ryan, the captain of the ship, starts throwing the torches, and Gorgo just is like, I had enough of this. I'm out of here. Goes back into the water. And so the next morning, the whole town's in an uproar. The harbor master's like, listen, we're going to try to figure out what to do to take care of this. And Sam and Joe find that it's a good time to make a profit off of this. The town's in a panic. And they go to the harbor master, and that body that they had found the day before of the man that died in the bay of Nara Island. He died of fear, is what they claim. They found gold coins on him that are clearly worth a ton of money, ancient Viking gold coins. So they know that the harbor master wants them out of there because he's trying to keep the gold and all the Viking treasures for himself, and he's trying to make a good profit off of it for himself. So they kind of blackmail him and say, listen, we're going to go to the authorities. We're going to have the town rioting, trying to kill you because you're making a profit off of the town and the treasure and keeping it for yourself. So they're like, listen, we'll take care of Gorgo. We'll get him out of your hair. You can go back to your treasure collecting. We get out of here with a little profit. And he agrees because he has no choice. Pretty much he's going to get killed or arrested. So they take some of his gold out of his safe, and they catch Gorgo no problem. They send Joe down in like a, I don't know what you would call it. Like
it was a submersible thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a submarine.
No.
It was like a tank that had like steel sides.
Yeah. I mean, this takes place in, I guess, I don't know.
Well, this movie was 61, so 61. I'm imagining probably somewhere around that time. You know, I would say, because it's pretty modern, the technology that they have.
Yeah.
One thing is, though, that you really start seeing, like, how much of a business guy Joe is. Because if you think about it, he's not only strong-arming this harbor master and taking his gold, but he does capture Gorgo in the scene and then immediately tries to make money off of Gorgo.
Yeah.
Like he's a scoundrel.
Yeah, he gets approached by the
Irish
Museum of Ireland. Saying,
yeah,
listen, if you want to do research on him, you'll be well compensated.
And he's also like, Irish property because it's a new animal discovered in Ireland.
Yes.
The government claimed it. They're supposed to be doing research and, finding out about the animal and, just... naming it, all that type of stuff. They want to do actual scientific research, probably properly treating this animal, but and then probably returning it back to nature if they could. I would imagine that's what the Irish government would have done. That does not happen.
You're giving a lot of faith to the government, but neither here nor there.
Well, you can see like the scientist kind of cared about the monster. He was like, make sure you keep him nice and watered. It's really important. He's an aquatic creature. They mention that they are doing it, but you never see them doing any type of care on this animal. Well,
when they were going, so basically they tell the Irish government that we'll drive we'll Gorgo over to you, no problem. Well, and he's technically not called Gorgo yet. He's just the creature. So
yeah,
the boy Sean is calling him Agra.
Yes.
So they were like, oh yeah, we'll meet you there. We'll meet you there tomorrow. But instead, the minute they walk away, Joe pulls out a letter from Dorkin's Circus saying, listen, we're going to give you $30,000 for the animal, and you're going to get 50% of the ticket profits. And he's like, we're shipping out to London right now. So they take off to London. They're keeping water on Gorgo the whole time, and it's leaving like a chemical trail dripping off Gorgo. And they said it was like a sulfur chemicals from the deep sea, so it leaves a trail all the way to London, and you'll see later how that trail comes into play. So they get ashore, and Dorkin, the guy that runs the circus, has decided he's naming this monster Gorgo after the Gorgon, like Medusa. So they go there. It's a whole big ordeal. Dorkin's getting interviewed, bragging about the monster. They're like, hey, listen, the Irish government says this is their property. What are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to make as much money off of it while I can. And then they get to the circus, and one of Joe and Sam's men get killed while they're trying to push Gorgo into the pen. A couple guys actually get killed by Gorgo. Even when the first island attack, a few guys were killed. But one of the guys gets killed, gets smacked by Gorgo's big tail, and he dies. Yeah. And Sam's really upset about it. And Joe goes to the trail. I was like, "What's wrong, Sam?" And he's like, "Oh, he died. He had a wife and kids, And Joe's like, "Yeah, we'll send him some money."
Yeah, just completely like Sam's like, oh, I'm seeing the cause of my actions, and Joe's just like, who cares? We're getting money, and that's kind of like the whole theme of the movie is just like this capitalistic greed and like them not caring about the consequences of their action. I mean, the amount of money that they were charging is like 5 shillings, which is probably about like $10 per person to view Gorgo at there. So I mean, it's the whole movie is based on just capitalistic greed and how every single human is just completely terrible. Because even at the time, they're like, oh, we could, they're like, right after this happens, while they're having this conversation about, he died, and then Joe just says, we'll send him some money. They get called by the British scientist. They go over and they're like, hey, our research is showing that this isn't a full-grown animal. This is a juvenile, probably very early in its stages of life. And they have an assumption of how big this monster is, and it's about 75% larger, or like, I guess maybe it would be like 3 times larger, because it's the current monster is 25% of the current of what the full size would be. So Joe just kind of goes like, oh, I don't believe your science. This is just a drawing. You don't have anything to base that off of. And pretty almost instantly, the British military, it cuts over right after that scene to Big Gorgo, Mama Gorgo coming in and just destroying the harbor master's house and the town, and just walking through looking for her child. And then right after that, we see the British military encountering Gorgo. They think, yeah, the Royal Navy. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
They encounter Gorgo. They think that they destroy her, but she just, which is an amazing shot that they have. She pops out of the water, grabs the boat, and destroys it. And this British, I don't know if it's an admiral or a general, he's kind of commanding the military from
like a central headquarters,
from like a central hub.
Radio.
Sam again is like, it looks like he's following the trail that we came, because we watered. No, actually, Joe says this. We watered Gorgo the whole way over, and it might have been leaving off like some pheromones or something. And then Sam's like, oh, we should release the monster and return it back. And
Sam's drunk too when he says that.
He's always drunk now.
He's out of shit. He's upset because one of the crewmates died, and the crewmate was a good friend to him, and he basically widowed the wife or basically took the father away from children. The kids.
And then basically ruined their life, and he's feeling the consequences of his actions, but Joe is not. He's still completely driven by greed. But anyway, like he's offering like we should get rid of the monster, return him back. And then the general's just like, oh, no, don't worry about it. We can handle this.
Yeah.
You can continue having your circus attraction. The British taxpayer is going to foot the bill for killing this giant monster for you.
Yeah,
like what?
It's just an animal.
He doesn't care. Like it's just like even that's like a satire of just like not even just capitalistic greed, but just like the government favoring businesses more than their own citizens' well-being. Like it really is like he took out an entire warship. Who knows how many crew members died? They said everybody died. So that's probably a couple thousand already. That's probably already a couple thousand. And they're like, we got this, don't worry. Like, what? Like a completely avoidable situation. So anyway, they go home, and then Sam's drunk. He's always drunk. And he's trying to let Gorgo out. Joe knocks him out, carries him back to the tent. And then that's kind of where we cut to I felt like there was probably more to this movie, but from there they kind of cut to the scene where Mama Gorgo is now arriving at London.
Yeah, Ogra, her official name, which is what Sean was calling Gorgo earlier, but you find out Gorgo is only the baby of Ogra, the protector of the islands or whatever he claimed. And you know, to add to this the whole time this kid Sean that was in the harbor master's house he snuck aboard Joe's ship and Sam's ship and traveled with him all the way to London. No questions asked. He's an orphan, so the harbor master kind of was taking care of him. But this kid is a pain the whole movie. He's trying to free Gorgo while they're in the middle of the sea. Like, he's going to kill everybody on the ship because he's freeing this monster. And the whole time, Sean is the only one that kind of wants to free him and return him from the beginning. But this kid is, as much as all these guys have been assholes the whole movie, Sean is just like that annoying kid character that they stuck in the movies back in the 60s. Like, it was almost like a trope, this kid. Like, you're like, oh my god, get this kid out of here. Like,
yeah, but
he was that kid.
It's not like the Gamera movies where it's like, oh, you know, the kids are there, it's okay. It's like, no, you hated this kid. There was not one relatable or likable human character in this entire movie.
No. No. That's true. 100% true. And there's also 0 female speaking roles in this movie. There's only
is there even a female role?
One news anchor.
Oh yes,
spoke for
yes,
a few seconds.
Yes, there were some anchors asking Dorkin some questions. That was it. I thought that there was 0, but yes, there is actually like maybe 5 seconds of a woman in this movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was 0 women in this movie.
No, practically.
Anyway, we come to the big conclusion. And basically, it's 30 minutes of Gorgo just killing untold numbers of people and destroying Mama Gorgo. And the reason I'm referring to her as Mama Gorgo is because I got the Laserdisc of this movie, and they misgender Gorgo, but they comically call them Papa Gorgo in the description of the movie. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call her Mama Gorgo.
Yeah. It
is hilarious because it's just like so casually, just like, oh, Papa Gorgo.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a old hat and some glasses or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the plot. Joe, being the terrible person that he is, has Sam drunk drive him to the site of where Big Gorgo is after he's already destroyed the bridge and Big Ben. And it's not until this point where Gorgo is like already halfway destroying the city.
Yeah, he's destroying historic landmarks, like just destroying London.
Yeah,
there's absolutely devastation, and there's some incredible shots during this whole attack sequence. I mean, I would say like the first 15 minutes of this movie is like where all the dialogue happens, and like the rest of the movie is just all out monster. Like from the attack on the island to the attack on London, like the whole last half hour of the movie just like monster attack. Like it's a short movie. It's like it runs about 70 minutes, so it's a quick watch. And it's tons of monster. You get some beautiful shots in this movie.
Yeah. So I have done some Googling. The bridge and the tower that they want you to think that Gorgo is destroying is the Westminster Bridge and Big Ben. If you've seen any British movie, it's right by the London Eye. You know exactly where this is. You've seen it a million times in movies. But after that's destroyed and Gorgo's destroyed half the city and has probably killed hundreds of thousands of people, the general's like, I'm going to call 10 Downing Street, which legitimately is 2 blocks away from where Big Ben is. That is where the Prime Minister lives. But that's when he's going to contact the Prime Minister about this. Is after the city is already destroyed and a national landmark that's 2 blocks away from his house is destroyed. There's like some of the writing in the movie isn't the greatest. The visuals are amazing, yes, but some of the writing doesn't make that much sense. Like maybe the Prime Minister should have got involved prior to the general saying that they're going to foot the bill for this.
Yeah.
Anyway, basically we're heading over to the conclusion. But before we get to the conclusion, I just want to mention that they had one great scene where Joe has been separated from Sam, and he's bringing Sean through the rail system. He pushes everybody out of the way, because Gorgo's basically right there. He pushes everybody out of the way, and then he's like, oh, I hear some rumbling. He jumps on the tracks and runs to the tunnel. Doesn't say anything to anybody else, and watches everybody else die. Yeah. And gets stomped on by Gorgo.
Literally, a whole subway station just gets, like, flooded. And, yeah, lots of people die.
Yeah, but I watched this movie with my wife, and she's just like, she saw that scene, she just goes, Joe is such an asshole. Like, it's really funny. And then, like, right after that, he, like, semi stumbles while walking through the railroad, like the tube system, and just, like, kind of throws Sean into the water, and very very slowly gets him out of the water where he looks like he's, like, drowning. And he's just like, it's gonna be okay, kid.
Yeah. 100 people just die. You just witnessed 100 people die.
Yeah, Sean saw all that.
Yeah, this kid saw all that and is completely unfazed.
So anyway, they're like, oh, we can just electrocute Gorgo to death, and we're gonna use her child. Well, I keep calling her Orgo, Mama Gorgo. We're gonna just use her child as bait to electrocute her to death. So they wire all the electricity in the city, like they said, is 4 million volts to surrounding Baby Gorgo's cage.
Enclosure, yes.
Yeah, enclosure. It's more of an enclosure, yes.
Yes.
And you want to take it from here?
So basically, Ogre keeps stomping through London, gets to the cage, gets a little shock from all this electric.
Yeah, ooh, that tickled a little bit.
It didn't even faze the monster. She just rips through the lines, kicks open the cage, like she just crushes the cage. The cage was almost like a pit almost with a ramp down. She just crushes.
Yeah, it's just like a pit with a small electric fence.
Like a dirt ramp. Gorgo crawls right out, and they're like, "All right, I guess we just let him go back to the sea," and that's it.
Yeah.
Roll the credits. Gorgo and Ogre just go back to the sea. London is destroyed. Thousands of people are killed.
Yeah.
Joe made $30,000 though.
Yeah, Joe did make $30,000.
Yeah. And,
the reporter kind of artfully is like, there's a reporter following this fight, and he's trying to be like prophetic throughout this entire thing, and he's just like, mother and child walking out to sea. Kind of like that's the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was it. And there's some great shots there.
And Sean's just like happily like, they're free now. And I'm just like, kid, I'm like, you've just witnessed like one of the worst things I think just like in canon of this movie, like probably the worst thing. They said this was worse than when like Germany invaded London.
Yeah.
Like that's what the reporter said.
Yes.
Like he's like even during that time we didn't see destruction like this. And like buildings are just getting demolished.
Yes.
Mass casualties. The British Army just not informing citizens of what was going to happen. They kind of waited till the monster got there to be like, you guys should probably like maybe start evacuating. Like they knew this monster was coming to London. They didn't do anything. They put corporate greed first. It was just so... It was 70 minutes of just like, I hate human beings.
There's literally not a single likable character but the monsters in the end were the good guys of the movie.
The monsters were 100% the good guys.
The villains were the people. This was literally taking the movie. They took Ogre's child and they were whoring it out for money.
It's very King Kong.
Yeah.
But in King Kong, they still are like, yeah, man made mistakes, but we learned something here by killing this beautiful creature. And in Gorgo, it's just like, oh man, that didn't go the way we thought.
It's literally it.
Like the end of the movie, just kind of they're literally just standing there watching them walk away, and they're like, "Welp."
It's literally it. I mean, and just like the destruction, like that subway scene, like I said, it was so messed up. Like these people just drowned to death, and Joe's like, "Yeah, peace later." Like he saw it coming. Instead of like saying, "Hey, everybody, let's go this way," he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go here."
Yeah, he didn't say a word to anybody.
He's
like he would have literally been like, "Everybody in the tunnel."
And then there was like a guy. Another messed up scene was the dude in the street standing with like a sign saying, "Oh, the end is near." The guy just gets trampled.
That was brutal. Like they do the cut and you just see him getting stepped on, and like you see like he's got like the dead eyes, and you're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And it was just like, whew, I was not expecting to see that. I gotta say the visuals in the movie are very good, especially the low light scenes.
Yes.
There
are some dark scenes. Like I remember, like now we have the Blu-ray, but back in the day we had the VHS, and we used to watch a lot as kids. For some reason, I remembered it as a black and white movie.
I did too, which kind of makes me want to go back and get that VHS.
VHS release was black and white, but I always remember it being a dark movie, and this, now we have it in color on Blu-ray. Like you could see, like a lot of the ocean scenes were clearly shot in front of a green screen.
Yeah, but it was well, I guess we'll get into the production of this movie a bit now. What was really distracting to me was like I understand this is a 60-year-old movie at this point, but some of the green screen the blue screen was very distracting, and it didn't make sense in some scenes because you saw that they shot in what they're trying to blue screen on location. Like they did shoot there, and like you go between on location shot and blue screen shot of the same location, and it was just very confusing, like almost like they had to go back and add those scenes in, but it didn't really make sense. And it was just something that was very like, okay, like it wasn't well done. I understand that this is technically a budget film. This was a $650,000, the same budget as the original King Kong movie. And it was the King's Brother most expensive production to date. They had to cancel 30 movies that they had planned just to make this one movie. That's how much they believed in it.
Wow.
But I mean, so obviously they put as much as they could into this movie. But I sometimes I wonder, I'm like, was the blue screen actually cheaper than, because at that time I would imagine 60 years ago doing stuff like that was probably pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I mean I'm not sure, but I'm always just kind of like, did it need the blue screen shot? Were they trying to like show off, or like did they not want to shoot on location? I understand the blue screen stuff for using the Gorgo suit against live actors. That looked good. That actually did look really good. But sometimes it just didn't work. Gorgo coming out of the water in the dark was probably one of the best looking scenes in the movie, and him coming out, or her coming out to destroy the naval were absolutely beautiful. Eugène Lourié was mainly known as a set designer, and you can kind of see it in the sets that they did have in this movie, which is again I was kind of puzzled sometimes whether they're using blue screen if they have like this amazing set designer as a director. But yeah, that looked great. And then the city set where they had the Gorgo billboards and they were all lit up and everything, that was beautiful.
Yes. Those are some of the best shots of the movie right there too, when he destroys that area, when she destroys that area.
Yeah. The monster destruction of the city was very well shot. Yes. They shot the building destruction scenes at 120 frames per second, and they slowed down the footage that they showed in the movie. So it did really look like the monster was lumbering and destroying the stuff, and it looked really beautiful. The other thing about the movie is that they used a little bit stronger materials for the buildings, so it wouldn't look cheap. The sets were a little bit more well built. They actually drew a lot of inspiration from Godzilla, and a lot of things that they didn't like from Godzilla they tried to improve on this movie. Like the suit was amazing in this movie.
Yeah, no, I believe there was 3 suits that they used for the whole movie. I believe that 2 of them were animatronic. I'm
Yeah, they had hydraulic systems built into them, so the person inside the suit could activate like the ear wiggles and the mouth opening and the eyes tilting and the eyes turning on. Like they could activate all of that from inside the suit, which was kind of very intricate, especially for even movies that we get today. I don't think we've seen a suit kind of that built out before.
Yeah, I mean, even people are complaining about the new dinosaur in Jurassic World. They're saying, "Oh,
it's a teeter-totter."
Yeah, they're like, it's a teeter-totter. They're like, back, look at Jurassic Park. The T-Rex was beautiful, animatronics, motions,
and like it had personality because it do some tilting. It looked a little bit more natural.
People love practical effects.
They do, and it's because they look good.
They look great.
They look natural.
Yeah.
When they don't look natural is when people are like, you know, you have, with this movie you have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's always been one of my favorites. I mean, like I said, we used to watch that VHS all the time. I haven't seen it in years. I just looked back. The last time I watched it was in 2017, which is 5 years ago, and still watching it again. This time was like watching it for the first time again, and I was, yes, it was good. I enjoyed it. It's a fun movie. I mean, I always enjoy the monster movies. I mean, even if some of the writing is ridiculous and hysterical, it's still a good time, and it's definitely one of my favorite monster movies that I feel like it doesn't get talked about a lot, and I'm always like, oh, Gorgo's so good.
It is. It's because it's
so
got
much
its
action.
faults, but there's some story faults in the movie. But besides that, I mean, the visuals are amazing. The monster's great. The destruction looks amazing. The acting is good. I can't say that there was one person that was like overly terrible.
Yeah.
It was very well directed. I'd say Eugène Lourié definitely did a wonderful job.
I mean,
he also
no,
you can go.
Yeah, I would say he's also done other movies like The Giant Behemoth before this and The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So this wasn't his first time around, first show with a monster movie. Like, he did a bunch of other ones. And supposedly, I read somewhere that the ending with Gorgo and Ogre surviving was planned from the beginning. They were always supposed to survive. He was sort of doing this as like a makeup to his daughter because she apparently was upset at the end of, I believe it was The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, that the monster died.
Yeah, so he said I'll for this one I'll have them live.
Yeah.
What was really good about, although he doesn't get the screenwriting credit for that, they rewrote the movie from what he originally wrote, but he did have some demands. The King brothers were like, we want to change some things. So it's not his original script, but the monsters living was always supposed to be there. And you know, he did such a good job. He's a really good like budget exploitation film guy. When he did do Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, that was supposed to be like a local market movie that was produced by like budget movie producers. And when they saw the movie, they said this is too good for the market that we were going to sell it to, that they ended up selling the movie to Warner Brothers. Like, that's how good this guy is. And I think definitely if they would have fixed the story issues with this movie, I definitely think this would have been a bigger hit. It was a big hit. It was a huge hit in Japan and in Hong Kong. It did really well there, to the point where they actually say that Gappa was a knockoff of Gorgo because it's very similar plots, and it came out afterwards.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, with, you know, them finding a monster, the parents coming in, saving the child monster. It was kind of, they viewed it as a knockoff movie.
Oh.
Yeah,
so I haven't watched Gap in a while, so I kind of got to give that a rewatch.
Yeah, I actually don't even own the Blu-ray yet. I should really hop on that. But
you better.
Yeah, before it like goes out of print.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have anything else you want to add about this movie or anything?
They ended up doing a comic series. It was 23 issues. I know you have that collection.
I do have the collection.
Amazon. Now, I was reading. I don't know that that's the complete series. From what I understand, that's only a couple of issues. I think it's like issue 1 to 3. Then it like jumps a couple. Then it might be. I don't know if it's the full set.
I believe it's just the issues that Steve Ditko worked on.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it has the Gorgo Conga crossover on it.
Yeah, that's also there was a Gorgo versus Conga little mini series, and the funny thing is, what you mentioned Japan before. This movie was originally supposed to take place in Japan because it had a lot of Japanese investors paying for it, but they pulled out after they pulled out, and then after that, the setting got changed to Paris, and then they eventually settled on doing the whole Ireland-London thing because they thought Paris didn't really have a harbor, and it wouldn't really work with Ogre coming on shore because there wasn't really like a harbor near the ocean there. It's kind of like inland Paris, like his waterways, but they thought London and Ireland worked better, and I don't think I could see it any other way than that.
No, yeah, I thought that it was really well. I honestly think the only other setting that they could have done would have been New York City.
Yeah,
like, it either had to be London or New York City with the way this was.
And if they didn't, the problem is if they did New York City, it would have instantly been called a King Kong knockoff.
It would have.
It's got King Kong inspiration, but it's definitely not a knockoff.
No, I'd say it's the only real inspirations it takes is the kidnapping the monster and putting it in for display, and the
there's no damsel in distress. That's for sure.
Yeah, but them having like a poetic ending to the movie where there's like somebody trying to say something artsy, like they had the reporter at the end of Gorgo saying like, "Oh, and the mother and child are off back into the ocean." Like, I don't know. He didn't do a very good job. It was Beauty that killed the Beast.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
No Raymond Burr either.
No. But definitely an awesome flick. I would recommend picking up the Blu-ray version if you can. It's pretty cheap. I think I got it for like $8.
I'm still amazed that it's in print. I mean, this Blu-ray's been around forever. You know, like things go out of print like it's nobody's business.
So right now it is $14, $15 on Amazon. So I would pick it up. I would definitely pick it up. It's put out by VCI, which is a pretty small company. They've put out other movies, but nothing really super notable as to genres that we covered here. So they do some B-level sci-fi movies. Oh, they did the new Dark Knight, the Scarecrow 2 sequel. I didn't know that they were the company that did that. Again, really? a show that doesn't really apply to a movie that doesn't really apply to us, but they do have some pretty cool Blu-ray releases. But for being a smaller publisher, they did show a before and after of all the restoration work that they put into it, which was pretty impressive. Some of the shots I felt like were complete recolorizations and probably more accurate to the way the movie was supposed to look. Because like the water was like green in like the DVD copy and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like it was all off. All the colors were off. But and they definitely brought out the blues much better, and they made the dark scenes look a lot nicer and crisper, and you had a nice contrast. But some of the scenes, like the boat scenes, it's almost like they oversaturated a little bit, and the before looked a little bit better. I don't know what type of materials that they had access to, or even if there's even original masters available for this movie anymore. I would like to see a like a new 2K transfer, 4K transfer if possible. But for right now, this VCI Blu-ray is the best thing you're going to get right now. Yeah. And the Ballyhoo documentary that they have on there is really good. I think it's like 20 minutes or like 25 minutes. But you were saying that the Mystery Science Theater has a longer version of that?
Yes, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 25th anniversary DVD tin has a episode and about Gorgo, of course, and then there's also in the special features on that disc is, I believe, the same documentary, but it's noted that it's an extended version of it. I'm not sure what additional items in there, but I believe that the guy that does, one of the guys that's on the crew for Mystery Science Theater 3000 is a big Gorgo fan, actually, and that's kind of how they got the little extended documentary there.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen a Ballyhoo documentary, like, they're always well put together. They always have great talking heads. I'd recommend, honestly, getting the Blu-ray just for that is worth it.
Yeah. Oh, the special features are always a nice little add-on there.
Yeah, so I would say, it's a fun movie. Definitely go watch it. It's only 75 minutes, so...
Yeah, it's a very quick watch.
Yeah.
And you can laugh about it as you watch it because there's some ridiculousness to it, but it's actually very good. It's very good.
Yeah. I mean, for all the things I was making fun of in the movie, it's so little compared to the amazing visuals and the great practical effects that they do use. Yeah. I wish that they didn't use as much blue screen. I wish that, basically that's it. It's the blue screen that kind of does it mostly in for me. Some plot stuff that doesn't make any sense, but the acting's good, and just a beautiful, beautiful film.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that's going to wrap it up, and we'll see you guys in the next 2 weeks. I'm not sure what exactly we're going to be covering yet, but it's going to be an awesome kaiju flick. Yeah, so we'll see you guys next time.
All right, later, guys.